On this edition of No DQ&A video, I'll be talking about the Edge promo from Raw this week. I'll be talking about James Storm and what's going on with his character. I'll also be talking about the Miz and what's going on with him this Sunday at Extreme Rules. And will Triple H come back and face Brock Lesnar at some point? All this and more coming up. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of No DQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQ&AV and of course, NoDQ.com. WWE Extreme Rules is this Sunday live on pay-per-view from Chicago. You can check out the live coverage at NoDQ.com. But for now, let's get right to your questions. Please answer in video. Everybody's talking about Brock versus Cena, Rock or Taker. What about him facing Triple H? I think this could be a great story and match between the two. Do you think it will happen? I actually think that there's a decent possibility of it happening. Brock Lesnar is going to be with WWE through WrestleMania next year unless something happens. He's going to run out of opponents eventually. He's got John Cena, you have The Rock, you have Undertaker. It would make sense to do Brock Lesnar versus Triple H. And Triple H is not going to be wrestling on a full-time basis anymore. He's focusing on doing the backstage stuff and getting ready to run the company once Vince is gone. So he's only going to be back for a special occasion match. And, you know, Brock Lesnar versus Triple H, two big stars, dream match situation. Maybe we'll see that at SummerSlam. Who knows? But I do think that there's a good possibility of it happening. If Triple H is going to come back, why not put him in there with Brock Lesnar? I mean, they're doing this storyline right now where Brock Lesnar is making all these demands and John Laurinaitis is starting to lose control a little bit here. So perhaps down the line they could have it where Triple H comes out and says, enough is enough, I'm going to be the one to take care of Brock Lesnar. So to me, there's a storyline right there you could use to justify Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. So there you go. What did you think about Edge's promo on Raw, and what do you think of the way Cena was acting? I actually thought Edge cut a really good promo on Raw. And the thing about Raw this week is WWE's really playing up the idea that Brock Lesnar is only in it for the money. And, you know, this is all the news that's come out over the past several weeks, that Lesnar signed this huge contract, and he's not really you know, emotionally invested in WWE like some of the other guys, and WWE is turning a real-life situation into a storyline, which they've done many times in the past, and it's always really effective, and I thought it was very effective here. Edge came out, gave Cena this big pep talk about how all the guys in the back bust their ass and Cena needs to win at Extreme Rules for all of them. And I just thought it was extremely effective and very well done. And, you know, they brought up The Rock and how Cena lost that match. And I just thought the whole thing was very well done. And it was good to see Edge again, and bringing him back for this segment, I mean, a very good way to utilize him in my opinion. Who do you believe TNA will have defeat Bobby Roode for the TNA World Title, especially after defending it against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Bully Ray, and James Storm in this 6-month reign? It actually wouldn't surprise me if James Storm ends up being the one to beat Robert Roode in the end. I mean, next month it's going to be Bobby Roode versus RVD, so not expecting a title change right there. And they did the segment on Impact this week where James Storm came out and said that he beat himself and he was all down on himself and he just left the ring. And it seems to me like they're going to build up James Storm to get another match with Bobby Roode, and when that match happens, it'll be Storm that wins the title. That's what makes sense to me, but considering it's TNA, you never know what's going to happen, and for all we know, RVD could end up winning it. But if it was me, I would build up James Storm, have him get his rematch, and win the title. So that's what I would do. When TNA benefit from bringing over guys like Chris Masters, Harry Smith, and Nick Dinsmore from Ring Ka King, who they have under contract, and putting them on Impact? If not, why? I'm not sure I would bring any of those guys in at this point. TNA really needs to focus on creating their own stars and having homegrown talent. So, I mean, bringing in the WWE guys worked a little bit for a while, but eventually it just doesn't make that much of a difference. You bring in a guy like RVD and Mr. Anderson, and it pops a rating for a week, and then doesn't really do anything. And you're paying those guys a ton of money, and they're not delivering the numbers. So I think it's bad for TNA to keep relying on ex WWE guys. They need to keep focusing more on their own stars and creating their own talent. So yeah, I don't think it would be a good idea to bring any of them in. Although you could always bring someone like Nick Dinsmore in to help train some of the up and coming guys. That might be effective. But in terms of bringing them in as guys on the main roster, I don't think it's a good idea. Do you think WWE will have The Rock beat Brock Lesnar sometime in the next year? If so, do you think that would be the best result? Well, I think that it's inevitable that we'll see Rock versus Brock. Like I've said before, that's been the big rumored match for WrestleMania next year. And if it does happen and it happens at WrestleMania, I think The Rock will come out on top. If it happens before that, it would probably be best for Lesnar to win. I think Lesnar should stay undefeated up into his last match, which would most likely be at WrestleMania 29. So that's the way I see it. I mean, either way, you have the two big stars in there, and it'll be a big match. And I don't think losing would hurt either guy, although I do think it would hurt Lesnar more to lose before WrestleMania, but that's just me. Hey Aaron, what's going on with The Miz? Why has he been regulated to appearing on WWE Superstars and Extreme Rules pre-show? Here's the thing. WWE is really trying to push the whole YouTube concept where people go on the YouTube channel, and WWE is trying to generate revenue from YouTube and build that relationship with YouTube. So they're doing this experiment here where they're having a match on a pre-show, and they want people to go onto YouTube and watch the match. That's kind of the way of the future here. I mean, that YouTube is doing more and more live streaming events. They did Coachella this past week. So that seems to be the wave of the future, and WWE's... I think it's really important for WWE to try to do this and see if it works out. So to me, I don't see that as a way of burying The Miz, actually. I think, obviously, with John Cena and Brock Lesnar and CM Punk and Jericho, The Miz is going to be pushed back a little bit. But I think that WWE still has confidence in him, and they're putting him in this match, this pre-show match, as a way to get people to tune in. And I think it's better for him to have some kind of role than to not even be on the card at all. So it's really important for this YouTube thing to succeed, in my opinion. And The Miz has got an important role here, I think. So, like I said, I don't really see it as their way of burying him. I actually think it's a good thing for him. And if it's a success, then that'll be a good thing for The Miz. All right, that'll wrap things up for today's edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure you subscribe. YouTube.com/NoDQCAW. And like I said, the live coverage of Extreme Rules this Sunday on pay-per-view at NoDQ.com. And we'll see you next time.